Young talent embody the spirit of innovation, challenging norms and pushing the boundaries of what's possible in their fields. Their influence signals a dynamic shift in the future of sport. Welcome to Meshview Sport. I'm your host, Kehinde Olatuja, and I am thrilled to have you with us today. Whether you're a first-time subscriber or you're part of our community, we've got a fantastic show lined up just for you. Today, we'll be diving into the world of Formula One, tennis, and boxing, a conversation you won't want to miss. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. But definitely, I won't be alone on this show, as I will be flanked by amazing men in the sports industry in Ajose, Abiodun, and Taiwo, Olatuja. Welcome to the show, guys.
I did bring you even stop by saying Taiwo. Viewers know he's going to be carrying that surname you mentioned afterwards.
Okay,
and I'm sure this is a setup.
It's good to be here once again. The first one was great, and now it's showtime. Let's get it rolling.
All right, let's get straight into it, and we head straight to Formula One. And the first name that comes to my mind is Lando Norris. I mean, how exciting is it?
To a very large extent, this guy has been very, very top-notch in the way and manner he has been going around his driving. Although he actually didn't get it very, very perfectly from the beginning. So far, so good. If you have to take your mind back to how the succession arrangement of who is going to be the champion of Formula One has been, let's talk about during the time of Schumacher, Sebastian Vettel, Fernando Alonso, and the rest of them. There was this particular point in time when Lewis Hamilton actually he won a particular year's championship, and Sebastian Vettel came up. He did a wide-ranging landslide, like maybe 3, 4, 5 years. So afterwards, you get to see Nico Rosberg only did a season, and afterward, Ojapa, he left because one way or the other, maybe he wasn't so sure about repeating that feat in the coming year.
Just wasn't good enough.
Exactly. So he felt, I think I've gotten the best. Let me leave the stage when the tone is still very high.
Very high.
But in the recent of it, Sebastian Vettel came in, and Lewis Hamilton actually got back to that dominance once again. He was like everywhere, winning races, breaking records, and the rest of them, even records that have been created even before he was born. And to a very large extent, Max came in like 3 seasons ago, and he did back to back to back.
2021, 2022, 2023.
But McLaren have actually been a shadow of themselves. For example, in year 2022, Lando Norris was the only podium driver representing McLaren. McLaren drivers, none of them ever had the opportunity of being on the podium in 2022 except Lando Norris. And this particular year right now, let's look at the situation of things. Right now, he has been on the podium 11 times. He has won 3 races. And right now, it's just 52 points in between him and Max Verstappen. This season has not been a wow season for Max Verstappen compared to what he did last season. But the reality about it is the fact that they've done 18 races so far this season, 6 to go. The last one was Singapore, which was actually won by Lando Norris. So I think on this program, for us to have actually picked him out to have this conversation is a very timely conversation, and it's a very beautiful one. So 52 points between him and the number 1 placed, or the number 1 placed driver right now, in the name of Max Verstappen. Now, what do we have to take out from that? There is still this possibility of Lando Norris doing the unspeakable, the unexpected feat we might not be expecting him to achieve this year. He can still go ahead and be the champion at the end
of the year.
You know, it's important to note that we have just 6 world titles left in the year 2024.
Yeah, definitely.
So how, for you, right, speaking highly of Lando Norris, do you think he'll be able to, smash the 6, or he might just get a bit?
When he came into McLaren, he was brought in to drive alongside Carlos Sainz.
Is it for McLaren?
For McLaren, Carlos Sainz. And to a very large extent, he's doing way more than what Sainz can even think of right now. You and I never saw it coming. Like by the 18th race of the season, this guy will be second place to the almighty Max. 6 races to go. And if you look at the available points on ground, it's still very much enough 52 points between him and Max Verstappen. If this guy can be on his hay game for the next 6 matches, if you can do like out of the 6, if you can do 3 victories, 3 number 1 spot or 4, and maybe 2 second place spot, I think he should be able to go past Max Verstappen.
All right. So quickly, let's move to Taiwo. I think you really love Lando Norris a lot, and it feels like you have so much to say about him. But Taiwo, what words do you have for Lando Norris?
I mean, for Lando is been top. His emergence in the F1 grid has been really great. You know, known for his impressive talent and consistency. I mean, he showed up every time he's performed. You know, outpacing so many like his teammates McLaren. You know, like my colleague said here. You know, and there was a time he actually put off Daniel Ricciardo from the entire McLaren driving positions. You know, in 2021 and 2022, he cemented himself as the number 1 in for McLaren. I mean, and also McLaren for a long period of time, they were like nowhere, you know, but the resurgence of Lando Norris brought them that, you know, that name back in the Formula 1 stuff. So for Lando, you know, is known for his his sharp racecraft. You know, that is one thing that stands out for him. You know, whenever he's on the grid, he has a very sharp racecraft. He has a raw speed, and he has this engaging, you know, mentality, engaging, atmosphere around him, you know, that endears, you know, fans, all of his fans, the UK fans and the world, and also the F1 community. I mean, for Lando, he's been very super consistent. He made his debut in 2019 for McLaren, and ever since then, he's gone from strength to strength, and that's really great.
How important was 2023 to Norris?
Very important, you know, considering the fact that he had a grid where he led to the last line, but unfortunately he lost by the last point. I mean, which that grid, that performance only comes with maturing and mentality for what to do in the future. So 2023 was impressive for him. It was really great. I think we had the Australian Grand Prix. He also had the Singapore where he won. He's got 3 wins. You know, like my colleague said, he's had 24 podiums. I mean, the last time a McLaren driver got to the podium was about decades before Lando came in, and he got there. He's got over 1,000 career points. He's actually doing really well for himself, and mind you, every time he has had to compete with, you know, top tier drivers, you know, we're talking about Sir Lewis Hamilton, we're talking about you know, Mad Max, we're talking about Charles Leclerc, he's always been there. He puts them in difficult positions. He tries to, you know, outplace them, and he has also outqualified them in so many races. I think that's impressive for Lando, and I really appreciate his talent. He's 24, and this guy is a starting point.
Yes, I was just going to touch on that. He's 24, but this is where I come to you, Ajose. 24 years old. Later in the year, November, he will be 25. Now, it's safe to say he's so matured beyond his years.
I think he has a whole lot of record, a whole lot of achievement right ahead of himself, right there. The most important thing right there is do not lose focus, right, and make sure the talent you've actually gathered, you've actually had before you had it at the back of your mind, like let me go into car racing. One way or the other, you need to work effortlessly.
Absolutely.
Because why? A whole lot of great drivers has come and gone. Michael Schumacher, Fernando Alonso, Sebastian Vettel. Even you have the privilege of driving alongside some of these great names. So, for whatever success they must have had, that should be a motivating factor for you to push yourself and push yourself and push yourself. Because why? In the next 5 seasons, I still want to believe, with the kind of antecedent, with the kind of position Lando Norris is right now, he should be able, out of the next 5 seasons, before he clocks 30, he should be able to do like 3 championships, like winning the Formula 1 season, like in 3 different calendar years.
All right. I think that would be extremely tough.
I was going to touch on that. That would be super, tough. You know, mind you, Max Verstappen hasn't had the best, you know, of season yet, and we know him to have a very tough mentality. We know that when he sees the finish line, he's always looking to go for it. There's 6 more races. I think this is going to be the hardest one in the Formula 1 grid, because we know that Verstappen would definitely come out firing. But for Lando, let's see what he has to do.
Yes, let's see what he has to do. And now for Max Verstappen, he has won 6 races this year, and for Lando, he has won 3. Now the question is Norris the guy to displace Max Verstappen?
So for me, I wouldn't say it straight off or with a straight face that he is the one to displace Max Verstappen. I mean, we know Max Verstappen for who he is. I mean, he's got a near perfect Formula One team in Red Bull.
Right.
He's also got one of the best cars. He's also been one of the most talented Formula One drivers we've had in years, and he's also got massive talent. For Lando, let's not take anything from him. He is super competitive. He's talented. He's got impressive talent. He's raw speed. His space racecraft is actually top notch, and he's got a nice personality. But is that enough? That's definitely not enough. I think he's not got that machinery to help him out to win.
I personally don't think McLaren, the car is ready.
That's where I'm even headed to right now. I think for Lando Norris, it will be a case of will McLaren produce will they close the gap in the performance board, or would he have to leave to a better Formula One team? I mean, it could be one of those top ones that have a very good machinery to close the performance board and all of that. But mind you, Lando Norris has the talent, and he's got the quality to actually compete. We know that he's going to be a future world champion, but
Absolutely.
at the moment, and I mean, I do not see him displacing Max Verstappen. I mean, Max Verstappen is who he is. I mean, he's 27 and he's still going. He's done it back to back consecutively,
and he's still doing it this year.
And he's still going on the forefront. So for Lando, it's not just his quality this time. It's not just his talent this time. He needs to have. They need to provide the right environment for him. I mean, I'm speaking about McLaren. To close the performance board. And just even the gap a little bit. Then he has to decide whether he would continue with McLaren or he would move to a better driver.
All right, what do you think?
Initially I talked about the points gap between the first 3, 52 and 34.
Yeah.
And between Max Verstappen and Lando Norris, we have 52 points. 33, 31 for Max Verstappen and 279 for Lando.
Right.
While you're trying to push yourself to get to a mark, to get to a position or to achieve a particular feat, the people you are dragging it with, they too are not sleeping. Everybody wants to crown their season with something worthwhile. Fernando Alonso, Sebastian Vettel. As at the time they are losing out on that dominance they've actually had for some period of time, it always comes out like this is not going to be. Most especially if you are so unfortunate to have a driver, an efficient young blood, active young blood like that of Lando. And that will be the biggest headache Max Verstappen is going to be having this season. So 52 right now, I said it earlier, Max Verstappen, as at 2023, he has gone past 331 as at the 18th race. But right now, he's where he is right now, which means he didn't actually enjoy the kind of dominance he had last season. So which means there is a chance for Lando. There is also this chance for Langley as well, because if you focus so much on Lando, someone is just behind Lando, just a little flop and he comes on top of Lando Norris. So all of this put together. And another thing is the fact that races is not solely based on the driver itself, the quality of the vehicle, of the vehicles, the team that will be working alongside with these drivers. All of these things put together. And it's been a long time since McLaren actually got such kind of beautiful feat. So I'm sure they want to do the unthinkable. They want their names to be written in gold by getting something so beautiful. And I'm sure Lando Norris will be a perfect person to lead them.
So do you think this year 2024 is too early to?
It's not too early.
So Lando Norris can still do it this year?
Definitely.
So for me, I don't think Lando can do it this year. Let me add that for Max,
6 races to go.
For the last, when he dominated, it felt like it was Max versus Max, like him versus himself. The competition was not really there. But now we've got the likes of Lando coming up. we also have Charles Leclerc, which kind of like pushes Max Verstappen to the absolute limit, and I think this is going to work in his favor. You touched on, you said it's not really, it doesn't have to be the driver alone to deliver points and get to the number one spot, but there is no car that is better than Red Bull at the moment. That means Max Verstappen, no car, no team, they are number one at the moment. How do you think Lando is going to do it? The car is not as efficient as Red Bull. He's not even a better.
So if I should put a question back to you, Kenny, right? Taiwo. I said it. Lord have mercy.
Don't worry.
If I should put a question back to you, the feat Max Verstappen actually had, the way he went around the whole thing last season, there was this level of like a downward slope kind of outcome in performance.
That's for Max.
For Max.
Yeah. Okay.
Are you saying the ideal or the beautiful status of the vehicle in question Red Bull had last season that made Max to actually get that dominant last season? What happened this time around?
So the
other teams, other automobiles will not be sleeping.
Absolutely.
That is just the reality. What McLaren must have actually been doing, which wasn't so revealed to others, is what is manifesting to Lando Norris' position at this point in time. I am not saying Max will not win. I'm only taking cognizance of 331 points to 279. Last season, Lando wasn't anywhere close to Max. So this time around, it's looking like we can do it. I can do it. And may it not be said, if at the end of the day, for the next 6 races, if Max could not get his house intact, believe you me,
so
the unexpected will happen.
I feel just to answer your question, I feel like it's absolutely normal, especially in sports, to have competitions. For the 2021, 2022 and 2023 season, it felt like Max was going to blow everybody off even before the races started. Which it did. But in 2024, we've seen not just the emergence of Lando Norris. We've seen other guys come into the frame and try to there is more competition.
Exactly.
At some point, it felt like there were questions about, has Max Verstappen gone complacent in all of his races? But no, it just happens. But what I know, or what I'm going to pick out, is that all of this is going to just push this guy, the best at the moment, his team, who is, arguably the best team at the moment, to the limits. With 6 races, Verstappen has definitely not had the best of the year, but he knows and he sees this. They are preparing. You see that every time he comes into the presser, he's always speaking with confidence, and that's who he is. So I'm not saying Lando cannot do it. Of course, we all love where someone's like an underdog comes in and cause an upset. But I'm just saying that I think Max Verstappen is at where he wants to be, where he can actually now push himself alongside his team.
That's where he wants to be.
Yes, I think that makes so much sense. But now I think now is the right time we talk about the man himself, Max. Max, people have said a lot about him. Is probably aggressive, greed. He's a rough driver. So my question is he as rough as people say he is?
There are some successes that comes around with some level of ruggedity.
All right. So you agree that he's an aggressive rider?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
But to a very large extent. When you take your time to do some SWOT analysis as far as yourself is concerned, the area
you're like your strengths.
You cannot run things.
Okay.
So I'm looking at the people that are competing for the same thing around you.
Okay.
That should always be a format structured on how to work on those weaknesses of yours, so that those other people that are competing with you will not use that weakness to override you.
Right.
And I'm sure that must have been one of the times where you get to see Max coming out a little bit rough in the way he goes around his driving. All is all about the ends justifies the means.
I have a question for you, Taiwo. So he has talked about Max, being rough and all of that. So is it safe to say his rough driving style has, earned him that competitive edge?
Absolutely, 101%. I feel for
So it's cool that it's like that.
absolutely, for Supermax, like we call him Mad Max, one thing that has definitely helped him since he came into the F1 grid has been the way he drives. People have said he's rough, they've said he's aggressive, but permits me to say it's been positive roughness, positive aggressiveness. I mean, and it's been working. Trust me, he has a very, very, very great, race craft also. And mind you, when he started from a young age, it felt like, he just wanted to. His bold overtakes, his wheel-to-wheel drive, his powerful maneuvers were just one of the things that people, saw about him, and they said, wow, we haven't seen someone like this in a long period of time. But trust me, he has used it to his favor. He has now grown into, a driver who uses that for his advantage. He puts other drivers in difficult positions. He takes risk. His risk management has actually gone better, and trust me, without him, growing into the driver he is right now, he wouldn't have had those success for sure. He would have probably just done maybe one championship, but he kept on doing it, and most importantly, he kept on growing in all of those. He's won 3 titles, and he hasn't changed. What he has only changed about his driving is how he has been able to mature and add all of those things together, still puts drivers in difficult positions to defeat them. Things that drivers cannot do on the grid, he does it. Because he takes so much risks, and he has grown to be a man who knows how to win races.
Absolutely. I mean, for Max, he's been doing it, and he's still very, very consistent, even though some will argue that he has dropped off a little bit this season, or this year, if I may say, but he's still top of the, the racing chart. And for Max, I'm pretty sure he's still going to go on to the very end. 6 races left in the year 2024. Let's see who's going to take it. Is it Max Verstappen or Lando Norris?